Okay, so for this comic book review, I'm going to go over The Amazing Spider-Man number 797, Going Down Swinging Part 1. See the Green Goblin there. And yeah, it's Norman Osborn Green Goblin. I read it, and there's a part in it that says, see previous issue, which was, it was the one with the Red Goblin, the one that everybody fought because of that. So yeah, this is part 1 of Going Down Swinging. You really don't need to have read the previous one too much. Kind of tells you what happened in that one part that I told you about right now. So it starts off with, you got Norman Osborn talking to someone, looking at you all creepy as he's talking about this. The whole thing right here, he's in some weird, what do you call it? I guess it used to be a gentleman's club that he owned. My old gentleman's club on the Upper East Side. So it's an abandoned. It looks all in shambles. He's decorated it with jack-o'-lanterns. He is talking to someone. It looks like he's talking to the audience. He's talking to you because he keeps looking at you with them weird eyes. But he's actually talking to someone that he has tied up. You don't know who it is yet. And right off the bat, if you haven't read this yet and you don't want to have the ending spoiled, just click off, because I'm just gonna go through it. So he's still talking to this person, talking about, Spider-Man, and it's back to the crazy Norman Osborn, and now he's bonded. At this point, he's bonded with the symbiote, Carnage symbiote. So if he was kind of loony before, yeah, he's loonier now. So he's just pretty much talking about what he has planned, and he's trying to connect the dots because he knows. He got like a board, and he got Spider-Man in the center of it. All these things that are connected to Spider-Man. He's trying to figure out what's the connection. So, next page here is 4 hours ago, the apartment of Mary Jane Watson. So you got Mary Jane and Peter just making out, and she's into it. And then she opens up his shirt, and he's wearing Spider-Man costume underneath that his outfit. And she's like, "No, I can't do this, not again." And pretty much just tell him, look, it's cool, you're Spider-Man, but I can't have the same old thing. If you even read a little bit of Spider-Man or watch cartoons, you know that she finds out he's Spider-Man, and even in the movie, the one with Tobey Maguire, the trilogy, Spider-Man is always needed, for something. She just kind of like got fed up with that, and she's just pretty much told him, look, we can't be together that way. The world needs Spider-Man. I don't need Spider-Man. Well, at least she said she didn't need that. Right here to see. The world needs Spider-Man, but I get that. But I don't need. And then she kind of like stops there. Like, I didn't mean that. I always need you and love you. But yeah, I get it. Peter's like, I get it. I'm out of here. And she's like, asks him to jump out the window instead of use the front door. Because since she works with, I think she's still working. I haven't followed Invincible Iron Man in a while, ever since the Riri Williams thing. But last time I saw Mary Jane in Iron Man, she was working for Stark, like a secretary, kind of like what Pepper Potts was doing in the movies. So she works for all these superheroes now and all that. So she's like explaining, it's just easier to explain, Spider-Man jumping out my window than my ex-boyfriend walking down the hallway. So he takes the window, goes away all broken hearted. Norman sees this, of course, and he's like, I don't get what's going on. It's kind of weird. What's Spider-Man doing at Mrs. Watson's apartment? And then it goes back to the present time. So that was 4 hours prior to the beginning of the comic. And it's just Norman Osborn still talking to this person. So one second, hear that, and then he hears a rat, and he catches the rat, and you can kind of see there's someone there. And let's read this part right here. Quiet one, huh? Well, it's only a matter of time before you squeal for me. Won't you, pretty? Question mark. Won't you? And then because if you don't, I'm assuming he's talking about the person he got tied up, not the actual rat. But because if you don't, boom, rips that. You see it there. He rips that rat's head right off. And if you notice, you can see his teeth are all weird, Carnage-like. He's like, whoops, I completely ruined the metaphor, didn't I guess. So, and then, okay, so it skips back to another one of those 4 hours, one of those back and forth kind of comics. Present time, 4 hours ago, present time, 4 hours ago, present time, 4 hours ago. Now it's 4 hours ago again, but this time it's in Midtown. Spider-Man just already leaped out the window. Some guys robbing this woman's purse. So a classic Spider-Man day right there, where he's like saving the day, but by catching a burglar, not by finding a super villain or anything. So it catches a burglar. This part was kind of funny. Yo, Webhead, favor? Last time you left me hanging like this, some kid snatched my shoes. You think you could hold on, it's a glare. You think you could web him to my feet? So he webs his focus. So he webs him up, and he's like, "Thank you, Prince." He's like, Spider-Man's like, whatever, you know. He leaves. So yeah, that's me, His Royal Highness of Last to Work in Stem. I'm not sure what that meant. So it goes back to he's at the Daily Bugle. He's talking to Robbie. They're going over something. Next one is so April. That's cool. Goes back to Norman. So it went from back 4 hours ago. Now it's back to present time. And Norman, here's the giant board I told you about. That he has all the stuff centered. You got Spider-Man in the center. You got everything around him. So he's at the center of everything. Norman's just trying to rack his head around this and trying to figure out what all these people are. Why are they connected to Spider-Man? You got Jameson, you got Robbie, you got Mary Jane, Parker. Now, if I remember correctly, he knows who Peter Parker is. He knows Peter Parker's Spider-Man. So I don't know what's going on here. I haven't even seen the last time I saw Norman Osborn. Anything Osborn was in Renew Your Vows, and that was like a little bit. So apparently he doesn't remember, or unless this is different, but he doesn't know that Spider-Man and Peter Parker are the same person. So he's trying to figure out Spider-Man's identity here, or why all these people are connected to Spider-Man. And then also right here, you got what's coming out in April. You got All New Wolverine. You have Champions. You have Venom #1, or Nativity Part 1. Over. And we're back to another 4 hours ago moment. This one you got Liz, and she's running a multi-billion-dollar company apparently. And this is where it says, see last issue. So something happened in the last issue involving Anti-Venom, Flash Thompson, and the King Goblin, who I'm not really familiar with. I don't know who that is, but this is asking him to run an errand, pretty much track down this guy, because apparently he Flash screwed up and he got away, and he got away with something that belongs to Liz. He got away with some of tritium. I'm not sure what tritium is, but he got away with some of that, and so she's asking Flash to go track him down and track down that tritium, whatever that is. Central Park, Harry's with his kids. I didn't know Harry has kids now. Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn's son. So they're at the park, and apparently, I don't know if he's separated from his wife or girlfriend or what, but little kid's like, "Daddy, come play with me." He's like, "Oh, one more, Normie. I'm with Stanley." So he has 2 kids now. And the older kid is, "Oh, you always play with him, but you never play with me." And he's like, "Well, maybe I'll stay over tonight. How's that?" And he's like, he looks like a little Peter Parker. "You've been doing that a lot, Dad. Are you and Mom back together now?" It's like, "We should talk." So Norman, like, the little kid's putting the 2 together. He's like, "You're over a lot now. Are you and Mom back together?" So he goes on and say, "Oh, we should talk." So he has, I don't know if this is a nanny or probably a nanny. But I don't know who Emma is, but if you can hold on to the young kid, Stanley kid, and she's of course Harry. He's like, "That's why I'm here." But she senses someone looking at them, and if you see over here, it's Norman. Let's see, it jumps. Boom, back to the present time. Okay, so now we're back to Norman talking to whoever got tied up, and he hears something. What's that word? Here's a ruckus somewhere in the building, and it turns out it's the King Goblin, who I guess was in the last issue, the issue before this one I didn't get to read. So he's there. He's it seems like he's looking for something, because he's all like, "Oh, pumpkin bombs, gliders, razor bats, all standard issue. Where are all the big guns? Worst goblin can she ever? Hardly worth the effort." So he's looking for some top end goblin gear, and Norman shows up right there, and he's like, "Oh, great, what's going on here?" Goblin King flares up his fire sword there, and he comes at Norman. You see, I am the Goblin King. Norman pretty much in the next page just grabs it with his bare hands, and Goblin King's like, "What the deuce is going on?" And this is the second time. The first time when, if you remember this one right here, it's just a silhouette with the red background. Very dramatic. He's ripping some rat's head off. So Norman catches the sword, and dude's like, "Oh, what's going on? How are you doing this?" Boom! Just freaking like goes right through him like with the Carnage Claw. You see the silhouette there. You don't actually show it, but you see the silhouette, and he kills him off. And apparently his name is Phil, not Goblin King. So then he's like, "What happened to all those sounds down here? Why are you covered in?" Oh, okay. No, the person that's tied up is the one saying this. "What happened? All those sounds down there. Why are you covered in?" And he's covered in blood apparently. Pest control problem, Norman says. But it's been dealt with. Feels like I'll deal with the wall crawler. It's a messy business, but there's a trick to it. And he's gearing up, in this Green Goblin, his traditional Green Goblin suit, actually, which is pretty cool because that's one of his favorite villains. He's like, "His girl off the bridge for years, I can remember the itch I could never scratch, but now, of course." So wait, let's go back here. I forget. Like dress for the job you want. Then the person that's tied up is talking here. It's like, "The Goblin, you think you're gonna put on that stupid suit and beat him?" Norman's response, obviously, what's broke there. Norman's response is yes. And then the person tied up says, "Well, you're wrong, because I know Spider-Man, and I know you'll never beat him. Not like that." Know why? Because the Green Goblin's a loser. Spidey takes you down every time, no matter what you throw at him. You put him through the worst night of his life, threw his girl off the bridge, and he still fought his way back. That's who he is, and why he'll always beat you. So he's talking about the Gwen Stacy incident with Norman and Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy. So now Norman's kind of thinking, like, what he's talking about, and Norman's just contemplating what that person just said. So he's like, "His girl off the bridge. For years I can remember." And then of course, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So then it like clicks. The greatest weapon I ever had against the wall crawler. It's mine again, and I owe it all to you, old friend. So now it's revealed who that person accidentally spilled the beans here. It was unintentional, but J. Jonah Jameson's the one that's tied up. And last bit right there is like, "What have I done?" To be continued. So that's who was tied up, and the next issue looks pretty cool. Classic Goblin Spider-Man. So yeah, part one's pretty cool. I'm just excited about the whole Green Goblin. Because like I said, as a kid, that was like one of my favorite villains of the Spider-Man comics and show. And I love the traditional green and purple. You know, I hated the Ultimate Green Goblin. I hated the movie versions of Green Goblin. I really hated the Amazing Spider-Man. The second movie, the one with that Andrew Garfield, Gifford, or whatever his name is. I hated that version of the Green Goblin a lot. It didn't look like a Green Goblin. It looked like a old dude going through some type of sickness on a glider. So yeah, I kind of want to see this whole Carnage Goblin thing. I want to see what happens from here. Jameson spilled the beans, obviously. Goblin King's dead, so Flash won't have to worry about finding that dude. Just has to find whatever he stole, tritium stuff. Yeah, some of the other stuff in here they had. Tony Stark is back, April 2018. That's that. Invincible Iron Man, $5.99. You know, they have a little comic announcement throughout the comic, so look forward to that too. But yeah, I liked it okay. I'll definitely, I have this in my subscription box now, so it'll be in my box next week, or next month when the next issue comes out. And I'm just curious, I forget what they were saying, something about the writer. Let's see, Dan Slott. I think they said this was going to be his last, after 800 is his last issue writing this Amazing Spider-Man, and then it goes on to. Then they're gonna do after 800. They're gonna do that whole fresh start thing that I talked about in another previous video. It's gonna be Amazing Spider-Man #1. It's gonna be like new artist, new writer, and all that. I saw the artwork for that. It looks pretty cool. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this. If you're reading this, if you're keeping up with the Amazing Spider-Man, you want to give your thoughts on it, go ahead and do so in the comment section. If you have any recommendations for any other Spider-Man comics, also leave those in the comment section. And yeah, that's all I got for this comic book review. Next, I'll try to do. There's a new one that came out. Infinity Countdown, I think it was. Yeah, Infinity Countdown. So, until next time.